All right, so I'm here today with Stephanie Sukulis, aka The Coolest. Um, you've been cheering all your life?
Yes, I have. I actually started when I was 4 years old and cheered all throughout college and everything.
All right, so do you label cheerleading as a sport?
Um, I believe that we have the athleticism and the components to be a sport. Just with that being said, because the way gymnastics and diving is all judged, cheerleading is judged the exact same way.
Um, how do you feel when someone states cheerleading is not a sport?
Um, when people say that cheerleading is not a sport, it used to offend me a lot. But as I got older, I kind of realized that people don't really understand exactly what goes into it, and the hard work and everything is just the same as any other sport. I think people just don't understand that because it doesn't have a ball, and it started out as something so simple as just cheering on a sideline. They don't realize that now it's so much more competitive and there's so much more to it. We actually don't even do cheers anymore unless you are a sideline cheerleader. But our own competition, you don't do cheers.
All right. Well, like, do you use self-talk when you like cheering and stuff like that?
Absolutely. I use self talk when I cheer. I have to.
Well, do you use negatively or positive?
For the most part, I actually use negative self talk because, when it comes to throwing a new skill or something, it's usually really scary to do if you think about it. Someone's just like, here, flip your body and spin a few times in the air and let me catch you. It gets a little scary. So you have to talk to yourself a little negatively, like, come on, like, you can do this, like,
So
don't be scared.
So do you use motivation, like give instructions to yourself to do something?
Yes, absolutely. I use it as motivation, although it may be a little negative, but I have to use it to motivate myself because if I'm sitting there sweet talking myself, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to talk myself out of it.
Give me some examples. Give me some type of example.
Of positive or negative?
Yeah, either one. I don't really know.
Okay, so like I said, when it comes to throwing a new skill, sometimes you get mental blocks. So you basically are scared to throw your skill. You almost forget how to do it, and that's a really tricky mind game. So there was a time where I had a tumbling mental block, and it scared me, and I had to sit there and talk trash to myself to get myself through it.
Yeah.
And eventually, mind over matter, got through it and ended up throwing the skill because your body has the muscle memory. You just have to talk yourself into doing it.
When do you use self-talk in other situations besides cheerleading?
Usually in the morning to get up and to go work out in the morning. I'll set my alarm about 30 minutes before I actually have to be up because I lay in bed for 30 minutes and talk to myself like, come on, you can do it. Come on, get out of bed. It won't be so bad.
You think it helped? Do you think self-talk helped?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know. I would not be able to get through my day without self-talk.
Do you think self-talk help you like from getting out of character in certain situations?
Yeah, absolutely. There's times where I've been either really mad or really stressed out, and it'll make me almost want to lash out, but I'll calm myself down by talking to myself and saying, "Is it really worth it?" And things like that, and then eventually it'll end up calming me down enough to the point where I just learn to let it go.
You think self-talk help you get through your day?
Yes, absolutely. Throughout the day. I mean, especially when driving, because driving in Kentucky makes me so mad. But if I sit there and, talk myself through the car ride, I can make it. And then again, getting up in the morning, talking myself into starting my day and whatnot.
Do you think self-talk help you lead on in life?
Absolutely, because if I use it so much now, the stress only builds up more and more and more later in life once your responsibilities start to build up. And I think using self-talk throughout cheerleading is kind of encouraged me to use it in my regular day, life activities. So I think that'll definitely come in handy later when stressed out because it helped me learn to let go of things.
Do you think self-talk will help like other people?
Yeah, I think it does. In cheerleading, they actually do encourage us to use self-talk because, again, about the mental blocks and stuff like that. Like, you have to be able to get yourself through it because no matter what, no matter how many times a coach or another person tells you that you have to get through it or you have to do this or you have to do that, at the end of the day, it's up to you.
Do you think you should give one of your friends advice about self-talk?
Yeah, I would help encourage my friends to use self-talk. There's actually been a few teammates of mine that have had a mental block as well, and instead of doing what everybody else says by telling them what to do, I just encourage them to help tell themselves what to do and help themselves get through it rather than, telling them this because they're not gonna listen because at the end of the day it's back to them and their self and what they're thinking.
Do you think that's crazy to like talk to yourself or like think hard in your mind?
Sometimes I feel a little crazy talking to myself, but then again, without it, I don't think I would be sane.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it helps a lot.
Oh, that's it. I think, yeah. Do you think self-talk helps other people? How much does it help you?
I think it does. I think everybody uses a little bit of self-talk no matter what, and also whether they actually realize it or not. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who uses it.
Do you think self-talk is acquired or innate?
I think it is innate because I feel like everybody uses it at some point in your life. I don't think that's something that has to be learned. I think it can be brought out more and enhanced if somebody were to help you and teach you what to say or how to use self-talk, but I believe that it's already there and everybody uses it.
Do you think there's a difference between self-talk or just thinking out loud?
I think it's all the same, just because when you're thinking out loud, essentially you are pretty much talking to yourself. It's just whether or not you're using self-talk to motivate yourself, or if you're just like thinking out loud, thinking about how to solve a problem, or something as simple as picking out something to wear versus using it to motivate yourself to do a skill or to just anything.
Have you ever heard anyone using self-talk?
I have actually. A lot of my teammates do use it. You hear it more often with the guys on my team because when they're learning stuff and like say, for example, they're learning a new stunt like to throw a girl and they get pretty frustrated pretty easily when they don't get it the first time. So they're over there getting mad, talking to themselves, like hitting themselves on the chest, and it gets very interesting sometimes, but you definitely hear it. And then with the girls, you hear it as well, but theirs is more subtle and more, kept to themselves, whereas the guys really want everybody to see and hear it.
Do you think other sports use self-talk?
I would think so, just because, I used to play lacrosse and dive, and I would use it for that too. Like, for example, for lacrosse, if I would, needed to run faster or play harder, I would just talk to myself and, tell myself that I need to do everything that much harder, that much more aggressive, and it was kind of like coaching myself using self-talk rather than relying on my coach or anybody else to tell me what to do. So.
Do you think your coaches use self-talk or no?
I think so. I think they use it regarding their athletes. If they, for example, they need to coach their athlete in some way or correct them, I feel like they use self-talk to figure out their the problem themselves and then how they're gonna relate it to their athlete. Because if they were to just ramble off of nothing, most of the time I feel like it either wouldn't make sense or it just it wouldn't be very well thought through.
All right, Stephanie, that's all I have.